Good morning. Welcome to these devotions. Nothing is too difficult for God. Ephesians 3:20 says, God is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works within us. This promise or pronouncement is a two-way street. God will go above and beyond what we imagine, but it's according to the power that works within us. We are all at times doubters and slackers. Unfortunately, doubting hinders the progress of these promises. In Genesis 12, God told Abraham that he would make him a great nation and that all his descendants would be blessed. He and Sarah were a bit confused because they were childless. So, this promise did eventually come true because they continued to fervently pray for a child. When Sarah turned 90, she was visited by an angel who declared that she would give birth to a son who was to be called John. John became the forerunner to Jesus. So not only was she finally blessed, but what a privilege to have a son who would be so special. God does hear our prayers, acknowledges the struggles, and remembers our heart's desires. Doubt paralyzes us, and we end up wanting to take control of our own lives rather than trusting God with every aspect of it. When doubt is replaced by faith, it gives God something to work with. He will do his part and release those blessings that are part of his plan. Think and speak positively always. Make positive declarations of faith. In Psalm 30, David reflects on the Lord's goodness towards him, and he says, You lifted me out of the depths. I called to you and you healed me. You spared me from the pit. Your anger lasts but a moment, and my mountain stood firm. You turned my wailing into dancing. I will give you thanks forever. Don't let this, though, turn you into believing that you are invincible, arrogant, or entitled. David did start doing things his own way, but fortunately soon realized the error of his ways and came back into the fold. Think back to all the times that you received God's grace, all those times that you were forgiven, all those times that you avoided a car crash or kept safe in a storm or had a good job opportunity. And then you will be able to get excited about what he can and still will do in the future. He is God enough to do it again. He is God enough to do it again. If you have been restored before, it will happen again. Trust God's track record and don't believe that his blessings are a one-time only get-free card. God's compassion towards us will empower us to become compassionate towards others. God looks beyond our mistakes and extends us his unmerited favor. He looks beyond the mistakes of others too and walk in their shoes. Choose faith, not skepticism. Let's do all we can to strengthen our faith and always believe that his hand is not waxed short. There is a story that is doing the rounds at the moment of a teacher who handed out a sheet of paper to all the students and asked them to write an essay in response to it. It was a white piece of paper with one small dot in the middle. So all these students fervently wrote their essays and handed them in. The teacher marked them and then spoke to the class about his findings. And he said, so interesting. Each one of you, every one of you, wrote really interesting things, stories, observations about the dot. But not one person spoke about the bigger rest of the white paper. And so the analogy here is that the small dot in the middle are our misfortunes, our obstacles and our troubles, and yet we forget about thanking God for the blessings of the bigger white paper. Amen. And I hope you have a lovely week. Till we meet again.